guys, this is Lord Chael speaking on behalf of our show sponsor, Established Titles. Established Titles is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lords and ladies. They allow you to buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land so you can officially call yourself a lord or lady. Established Titles is not just about your ego. You also get to do some good. In addition to your new fancy title, Established Titles supports global charities like One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to help with their afforestation efforts. Your title pack gives you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Scotland, and your official certificate proves your title, as well as your unique plot number where you can see the exact location of your land. If you're looking for a fun, last-minute gift this holiday season, this is a great way to surprise a loved one. Who doesn't want to become an official lord? Getting the certificate even allows you to officially change your name to Lord or Lady. Put it on your credit cards, plane tickets, or if you're so inclined, put it on your dating profiles. Established Titles is having a great limited time sale. Go to establishedtitles.com/Chael and save 10% off today. Remember to use the promo code Chael or just click on the link below. Guys, there's lessons all over this sport. And if you're not a historian, if you're in the sport, don't be Sandhagen. You need to be a historian. You got to know all the way back from the beginning of time what happened within the different eras of our sport, when we were in the mixing of martial art era, when we went through the competitive era, to where we live now within the entertainment era. You've got to understand those things. What worked, who survived them, who's been around crossing eras, and how did they do it? There's always a lesson somewhere. Conor McGregor. I can't remember a time we've talked about Conor McGregor more. I can't. It may have happened. We will throw Conor's name out there quite often, moving the window sheen into both of the viewers here. I can't remember a time doing it more. And I'm just personalizing. I also see his name more. But we had 2 other guys, fantastic fighters, that did a very similar injury to their legs. Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva. We didn't hear a lot from them. We didn't hear their names out there very much. And when we got updates on the rehab, we were all very happy. But that was also the only updates that we ever got. Conor McGregor has his name out there more than ever. And even if that's not a literal statement, guys, I'm still succeeding at proving my point. How did he do it, and are you studying it? And there is some stuff different about the way that Conor is playing this hurt time as opposed to he paid his active time. One thing is he's calling everybody out. Not only is he calling everybody out, he's accepting any challenge that comes his way. Now that is different. It might seem slight to you guys, but it's one of the ways. It's one of the pieces. There's many ingredients in this cake. But this is one of the things that he's doing. It is significantly different. If Conor is active with an active license and looking to get a contract, he's very selective with who he fights. He never has revealed to us completely what he's looking for. But he's definitely looking for a partner. He's definitely looking for somebody that can match him 10% of the way within the media, within the marketing, within the social approach to this way. He's looking for somebody that can help him do what he does to some degree. Conor's never going to tell us, and possibly doesn't even know himself. It might be one of those things that's a little bit more subconscious. But while Conor cannot get in there and compete, there's no reason to not call out absolutely everybody. There's no reason to not accept absolutely every challenge that's coming your way. And that is something that Conor is doing different. It's an opportunity that he's afforded himself by being in the position that he's not actually looking to sit across the table and sign contracts. He's keeping options open. He's keeping dialogue going. It's very important that you study and observe these kinds of things, and in reverse order. That you observe them and then you study them. It is an absolute masterful job. Now let's stay on the topic of Conor McGregor. Conor is famous for a quote. I win or I learn. He never says I win or I lose. He doesn't see things as a loss. You win or you have an opportunity to learn. Now that's almost poetry when it comes out of his mouth. It sounds great. I couldn't give you very many phrases that any fighter has ever coined or brought to us. That one stayed with me. I like that a lot. I am worried that Conor is not going to follow the message within his own phrase. Conor is still talking about Dustin Poirier, and when he speaks about Dustin Poirier, he speaks about him differently. You can tell within the affliction of the tone, both in writing when he goes to social media and when he actually speaks. It's different when he's talking Poirier. That one bothers him. That one keeps him up at night. That's the one that he wants to get back. We gotta have the lesson though, right? Conor said you win or you learn. So what is it that Conor learned about those fights with Poirier? Because if it's about how to sit down on that left hand, or it's about how to keep your back off the fence and not succumb to the double leg, he's learning the wrong lesson. The lesson in Poirier Part 2, moreover than any other lesson that Conor learned, is being away from the cage is a real thing. Ring rust is true. The speed that those live actions come, the power, the intensity, the walk, the eyeballs on you, the pressure, where you're balancing all sorts of dimensions, including time, is real, and it matters. And if you don't practice it, that weapon gets a little bit dull. If you do practice it, it stays sharp. So Conor came in with a dull knife. Poirier's is a double-sided, sharpened blade with a steel tip, and you see the difference. And even in the second fight, it wasn't very much different than the first in terms of the time that Conor had away from the ring. Conor took a meaningful amount of time until the second fight. Was it 5 months? Was it 7 months? So I'm not sure that he's learning those lessons, and I bring that to you because Conor's got a lot of options, and Coach John Kavanagh just spoke about them. I never miss a Coach Kavanagh interview because Coach Kavanagh doesn't play games. He does not market. He does not try to sell. He doesn't do a lot of interviews, but when he does do them, he will answer the questions directly and candidly. I always appreciate that with a Coach Kavanagh interview. He just did one. He had his wish list for Conor McGregor. He talked all about the Diaz trilogy. He talked about Tony Ferguson, which, by the way, that's an interesting match. That's a very, very interesting match, particularly at this point in their careers. Very interesting and should be considered. I'd like to submit Clay Guida. Just personally, I'd like to throw Clay in there. And even if Clay doesn't have that same level of recognition, when you are bringing Conor back, there's nothing wrong with getting him in there and letting him move around a time or two. Tony Ferguson has been removed from the sport for a period of time. If you told Tony, hey, you're likely to fight Conor, Tony is willing to stay on the sidelines. But that helps even the playing field, right? That's going to dull the knife of Tony Ferg just a little bit. It checks a lot of boxes is all that I'm suggesting. I didn't hear Coach Kavanagh bring up fighting for the world championship. I didn't hear him bring up Khabib needs to come back. I didn't hear him bringing up Dustin Poirier. I hear him bringing up matches that are very realistic, but that would also serve the lesson that Conor taught the world, which is you win or you learn. I fear that Conor McGregor is learning the technical aspects based on his experiences in fights 2 and 3 with Dustin Poirier. That's the wrong message. That's the wrong lesson. If we as an industry did anything wrong in 2020, which I've never heard anybody come out and admit, but they should, we made a mistake not fighting Conor McGregor. Conor fought in January. He was so big they didn't have a show. They created a show around Conor. He landed 20 punches. He took 1 head kick and was done in 40 seconds. It was remarkable. And he said, I want to do this 3 more times this year, making a total of 4, which would be the most times Conor had ever competed in a calendar year. It was great, but we held him out. We held him out being greedy, right? Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. We were greedy about seeing Conor versus Khabib Part 2, and we kept him on ice, which is why when he returned against Poirier, it was too much time, and that's why that knife was dull. And quite frankly, it was fairly competitive. It was a lot more competitive than you might remember. And the same thing goes with their third fight, their most recent. That was more competitive than your minds remember. And Poirier even spoke about this. I mean, I've never been hit by anybody as hard as I've been hit by Conor McGregor. He said some beautiful things. And Conor was active. He got pinned down in one position. Then we see the leg injury. I only bring to you that. I really do hope that Conor takes a moment to observe that lesson. I hope he is a pig and not a hog. I hope that he doesn't get greedy. I hope the people around him don't get greedy. It sounds like his mentor and coach, John Kavanagh, is very level-headed about this. And that's very much going in the right direction. Whether I get my way and Clay gets considered, whether it's Tony Ferg, whether you do that trilogy with Nate, which would be a travesty in the sport if we didn't get that trilogy at some point. I think that that's the right direction to go, not the vigor and tone that Conor has about Dustin Poirier. The last one to know when they're dull, The last one to know that they're rusty, the last one to know that it's over when it is over is the fighter. We can all see it from the outside. It takes 2 or 3 times of falling down. It takes 2 or 3 matches, which over the span of a year before the fighter sees what we all already know. And we have no idea, quite frankly, if it's over for Conor McGregor. We have no idea because you haven't seen Conor McGregor fight in so long. You cannot count those 2 fights with Dustin Poirier on the resume of Conor McGregor. That wasn't him. That was a guy named Conor McGregor who was trying to get back to the champion that once was Conor McGregor. He's got the right to do that. And it's a little bit too much he's putting on his old shoulders if he thinks he's going to come back off of an injury, being less active than he was if he would have been healthy, have a period of time removed, and step in there against a busy and active Poirier. It's too much. He doesn't need to do that to himself. He has every right to come back against a guy that's also been removed. Neither blade on either participant is quite as shined up as they'd like it to be. Okay, fine. You need your time back. I need mine. Let's help each other out. Let's go fight under the rules. Anything I just said doesn't make sense?